Greetings, sunshines and sunnies. It is I, Queen Scarlet, Pimp Sunkiss, coming at y'all right quick, right fast, maybe, with a spiritual body language read off the shoulders of this full moon and Capricorn we just had on July 13th. So, if you've been having any type of feels going on in your mouth area, whether it be aches of any kind, soreness of any kind, dental work of any kind, oral work of any kind, oral diagnosis of any kind. If you've been feeling the tightness in your jaw, if you've been feeling like some mucus or congestion in your respiratory system, anything of that nature that's been blocking you from speaking your speech, saying what you need to say, or even if you've been biting your tongue, if you've been having a problem biting your tongue, I mean that figuratively and literally, then this is indeed the video and the read for you. And without further ado, we shall get into. Alright, and here we have our layout. We're going to start off with the Queen of Wands in reverse. Alright, so what I'm getting here is there's some tightness in the jaw and the throat area as well. There's going to be another video that I do concerning the neck. Those of you that resonated with that, you might want to tune into that video when I post it. Make sure you subscribe so you get the notification. Anywho, there's some things that are not being said. There's the habit of biting the tongue, both figuratively and literally, or either or. But biting the tongue, not saying what you need to say, suppressing words, expressions, which then consequently domino effect into certain emotions not being expressed. Some people have shamed you about speaking up for yourself, and also about being a brainiac of sorts. Seeing and hearing that people ask questions and you give them answers. People state a problem and you give them a solution and they attack you for it. It's not you, it's them. Say what you need to say. Let them respond however they respond. And you just have that conversation with God later and yourself. And through that, you'll have more clarity on yourself. Through the response of other people, but also through your maintaining your control over your own emotions in the situation. So, I'm going to kind of repeat that again, but in more simple terms. Say what you need to say, but don't let nobody bring you out your face. Learn how to keep your emotions under control in the process of expressing yourself. And I'm getting that you already know how. But, and I'm not going to lie, this is something that's coming up. If you got a lot of whoopings as a child, your parents were more than likely disciplining you or punishing you. Or you can call it abuse, depending on the extremity or, your perspective of the situation. Either way, they called themselves trying to discipline you, but they did it while they were angry. And if they had have let themselves woosah, take a moment and calm down before approaching you and before handling situations where you needed to be corrected and redirected, they would have handled it differently. And so you're in a state of breaking a cycle, that type of cycle in particular, of acting off of emotion and losing control of yourself and ending up bleeding on people who didn't cut you and just overkilling due to not only suppressed emotion but also projected emotion. When someone hits you while they're filled with anger, they're transferring all of that anger and anxiety into the person that they hit. So that's why if you get into a fight, even if you win the fight, you still come out of the fight with some amount of trauma because one, yeah, you got hit, but there's also a transfer of energy with that connect of body, with those connecting of hands to the body in particular. Just like if you're giving someone affection, when you touch them, you're touching them with intent because you want them to feel something as a result of you extending that affection to them. So you transfer energy. So that's what that is getting into. Some things for you to unpack there. And with that card in particular, it's dealing with being in control of your emotions while expressing yourself and while establishing and maintaining a balance between time and place. So, yeah, you can speak up for yourself and express yourself without getting violent. You can set a boundary without it having to be a fight. And just because someone initiates a fight with you doesn't mean you have to engage. There are actually some powerful things that can take place for you, the other person, the entirety of the situation as a whole, and everybody that's observing it as well, if you can exercise and allow yourself to grasp that concept for yourself, separating yourself from other people's thoughts and opinions and what you think they're going to think and say. So, I'm going to get to some other cards here. We can go ahead to don't believe every shitty thought you have, which kind of reiterates what I was saying about just because you're expressing yourself doesn't mean that it has to be a fight. Granted, there are certain times where people will try to start shit with you, but sometimes we can be so used to fighting and used to being defensive that our mindset can create negativity that is not necessarily there. So someone can be saying something to us just to be saying it or trying to express something just, for themselves, for the fuck of it, casual conversation or whatever. And we might take it personally because we are so just in the habit of being in defense mode. I'm going to go ahead and transition into don't let pride get in your way. Full moon in Leo. I believe the next full moon that we're going to have is going to be in Leo. And it could be something around that particular time frame and that particular time that you're being prepared for right now. And so this is getting you ready to have your pride already to the side. Basically, your ego is being shedded. Yeah. Your ego is being shedded. So, this can be a very humbling experience. It can also be very frustrating and confusing because when you have goals and you have certain tactics and methods that have been working for you so long, and then you realize that they're attached to something that is not good for you on a longevity sense and throughout the rest of your journey and divine purpose. And now you gotta let that go. You gotta be brought to the attention that you gotta make a drastic change. And you kind of gotta do it quick. And you got to be patient with yourself at the same time. So a lot of conflict and energy, a lot of tug and pull up and down, light and dark. It feels unstable, but it's to get you to a place of stability. So let's talk about why it feels unstable. It feels unstable because it is unstable. And the truth is, it's always been unstable. You had just gotten comfortable in the instability. The chaos became peace, child. But when you made the decision to change yourself and evolve yourself for the better, that brought on the realization of, this ain't vibing with me like it used to. I ain't vibing with this like it used to. Can't. Now your mind, your body, your spirit don't have no tolerance for it. You gotta move on. And that's what's happening here. So you're having to pick through and dissect what is unstable, and then make up your mind for yourself how you want to stabilize it, or what your ideal, what your wants and needs are that can make whatever the situation is, if it's a relationship, if it's just your mental and emotional health, if it's a car situation, a house situation, whatever will have you, you need to idealize and visualize what you want and need in order to make it right for you. And then will come more clarity on what it is you need to do, or who it is you need to ask questions to, or come in contact with, or whatever what have you, in order to get those things straight. So for some of you, I'm seeing something involving a car. So for some of you, this car situation, house situation, something, because stability comes up. So things of the root chakra, things of the material form that involve protection and providing for and transportation, movement, things of that nature come up, being the fact this is an ego situation. So there's something external that you have an attachment to that is a little shaky, and some of you are trying to be nice about it. You trying not to snap out on the people that you live with, or on the people that you share in a car with, or that you allow to use your car, but it's becoming an issue. So either you're about to have to tell them to get the fuck out, or you are just about to have to make the decision to move yourself and just get yourself a new place and just get yourself a new car and let them have that. And for some of you, a determining factor concerning that is going to be what memories you have attached to those particular tangible elements, such as the car, the house. For some of you, I'm seeing a phone or something. For some of you, I'm seeing that it's just your space. People always want to intrude in on your space in general. People popping up at your house. People blowing up your phone, calling you from weird numbers. People not wanting to let you go, not wanting to let you leave certain relationships. And I'm hearing for some of you, it's not just romantic relationships, it's also friendships that you try to cut off, and then they just pop back up texting you and calling you and sending you DMs and shit like y'all still cool, like you didn't just tell them not really trying to fuck with you right now. So yeah, it's you're gonna have to do a lot of meditating and sitting to yourself in solitude. I'm seeing some of y'all going to coffee shops and just sitting and letting yourself be and vibe with yourself and just vibe to the music. And through those types of activities that allow you to hear your own thoughts and emotions better, and your own inner voice better, your intuition and everything, you're going to start to not only ask yourself questions, but hear the answers from yourself. And it's going to help you to make the decisions that you need to make. It's just a lot of things having to trigger you in order for you to, it's your higher self trying to prove to you that you really have changed, that you really have evolved. And Not only do you not have to handle situations the same way that you used to, but you won't, because you have genuinely done the work to get yourself to this point to where you are being tested, and this time you're going to pass the test. Because, like I said, you've genuinely and authentically evolved yourself and have allowed your divine realm to evolve you. And so this is a moment where you're proving a lot of shit to yourself, and it's going to end up in you proving a whole lot of shit to a whole lot of other people at the same time. And as a result. And so you're going to turn that Queen of Wands right side up. And so also with that being said, I wouldn't be surprised that if a lot of people uh coming across this video are fire signs or have a lot of fire signs in their chart. So let's talk about you are giving too many fucks. This again is concerning the external attachments that you have. Again, the ego thing, but specifically involving the external attachments and what you feel like all these different things mean. And there are also some it's something about rules. It's like some rules or some ways of life, some codes of conduct of sort that you've been taught are like hella important in our like culture or something. And it's really like not all that. It's really a situation where whoever instilled that in you is like, you making too much about all this. It ain't even about nothing. And some part of you has always felt that and known that. And you're starting to realize it kind of sort of the hard way, because you know that you've been feeling yourself getting worked up about things that ordinarily you wouldn't be worked up about, or you feel like you shouldn't be worked up about, because it's just physical things, or it's just like it's not even that serious. It's like, why am I so mad about this when it really don't matter? I can get more, or I can just do this, or whatever, what have you. It's like, you know your options, but you limiting yourself because all of this hoopla has just been instilled in you as Bible, and it's really like not shit. I'm not gonna say that it's completely not shit, because if this, like for instance, if this is coming from your parents or your grandparents, some shit that's been passed down through your family, then more than likely that's crazy. I just did a channel message on this. But and then the full moon and Leo card is up there also. That's interesting. But it's literally given that these were some ways of life that were passed down as survival mechanisms, as because let me touch on this. It's, I don't know, maybe you have some ancestors, or not just ancestors like on a ancient sense. I mean, perhaps your grandparents or your great grandparents, and they may be, I don't know, for some of you that they may be deceased now, so they would kind of be considered ancestors to you in that way. But the point of me bringing this up is, you may have some grandparents, great grandparents, great aunts, great uncles or something that may have been travel guides, or their parents may have been travel guides, and these were people who pretty much were responsible, made themselves responsible for creating pamphlets and brochures and maps and things of that nature of places and routes that black people, and I'm not sure if people of color as a totality was included in that. I don't see why they wouldn't, but black people, ADOS in particular, I hope I'm saying that right. But descendants of slaves in particular could travel and could go to have a good time, rest, live safely without being harassed and tortured and, you know, all that other stuff by racist white people. And you may have some of those people in your ancestry or in your family, and that's why they were so like adamant and they were so like, consumed by that also at the same time, because that was their purpose in life during that time period. And I'm gonna touch on that later. I was going to say something else, but I'm gonna touch on that later. But that's why they were like so like beating it into your head like that. So that's why I'm not gonna say that it's like totally not important, because there is importance in it. There's history there that needs to be acknowledged and discussed. However, there's also a lesson here of knowing when to stop and knowing when to let go in more ways than one. You're having to realize that you have way more than what you think you do, and you have way more than what you used to. You are having to realize that you come way further than what you're giving yourself credit for. You have like evolved in so many ways, but you're still thinking of yourself as that same little girl, little boy, or little person that you were some years ago, or that same wild whatever that you was some years ago or some months ago, or when you was a kid, or whenever. And it's having to be brought to your attention, and you're having to bring to your own attention that you got to give yourself more credit for the evolution that you have gone through, and the blessings and the wisdom that it has brought you as well. So it's also a matter of you just kind of needing to give yourself the opportunity to also, like, when it goes back to you needing to take some time to meditate and contemplate and all of that, a part of that is you needing to give yourself time to rest and relax and take your hands off everything and not try to fix and micromanage and control every single outcome. So let's talk about believing in the impossible and why it's in reverse. So there's a quote that's coming up to me. I think it goes, "You can't see the forest for the trees." And I'm not sure exactly what that means. But what it's given me is okay, so okay, metaphorically, theoretically, as it concerns the quote, you are saying that the trees are in the way, so you can't see the forest. But the trees are a composition of the forest. So, as it applies to the real life situation, what you're complaining about is actually something that you need in order to get to the next step. So there's a couple of different sides of this, a couple of different scenarios that's coming up concerning this, so I can make it clearer. So for some of you, it's literally you complaining about what you don't have when literally you do have it, or you saying that you don't have enough of it, but you have exactly what it is that you need. And your divine realm is waiting for you to show some appreciation and some use of that before you start complaining about not having more. Like, and also if you would just use what it is that you have and at least attempt to create your ideas with what you have, however you can, you will start to have more faith in yourself and more faith in what you already have. And through that, not only will you build your own confidence, but you will also create more blessings for yourself, for more of the more that you're asking for to start to come in. Because the thing about it is, you're not going to know how to really get the most and the best of the more of what you think you need if you don't know how to use and you don't know the flexibility of what you already have. So for some of you, this is equipment. I'm hearing somebody wants to do fitness videos or fitness training or modeling maybe or something of the sort, and you feel like you don't have enough equipment. And I'm hearing yoga is a way that you can get started where you don't really need equipment. All you need is a mat or something of the sort. And then you need to learn how to get in touch with your body first before you bring other physical elements into it. Because the thing about that is you can hurt yourself bringing in other physical equipment and you don't know your body well enough in that particular space first. So for some of you, that's what's coming up, and for others of you, I'm getting like dance workout vids or something of the sort, or dance workout boot camps. For some of you, you literally like want to hands on train with people and you want to do some type of plan. For some of you, you want to open a gym. For all of you in this particular category, I'm seeing a space. You want a set space of your own, at least that you can rent, or at least that you can buy. And for some of you, I'm saying that you already have that space, or you already have access to a space, but you're not making the best of that space because you're too focused on the fact that you want a space of your own. For others of you, it's entertainment. I'm seeing musicians and also actors, commentators, makeup artists. Interesting. And stylists, people who like fashion. You want to figure out how to incorporate that into uh, some of y'all want to document something. It's something somebody has like a philosophical understanding of cosmetics or something. Like you have discovered something specific or some things specific about cosmetics, like facial products, makeup, um hair, lashes, things of that nature. Like the composition of it, how to make it, and how it impacts. Like for its skin, if it's skin, how it it's something that you made or something, and it's like something philosophical and scientifical or something. Like you done discovered some shit and you're trying to figure out how to document that process of what you discovered in your craft so that you can educate other people. And you need more information on the business aspect of that before you put that information out there. Like a patent, you need to research patenting. I think that's the word, a patent, where you solidify that it's yours, and if anybody try to take it, you can sue them, or if anybody do it, they owe you money or something like that. So yeah. That's what came up. You done made a major discovery in your industry, in your craft. It's something specific that you made dealing with cosmetics and makeup, cosmetology, or something of the sort. Um, and for some of you, perhaps this hasn't happened yet, but it's going to happen. But wherever you are in this particular process individually, because it's a lot of different scenarios that come up, and some of you are in different stages of this particular message and cycle and journey that I'm speaking on. So yeah, you made a major discovery in your industry and your craft. You made something dealing with cosmetology, cosmetics, facial products, makeup, all of that. And before, like, start on your documentation, but be careful who you talk to. about your discovery. Okay? So that's kind of how this is coming up for y'all. You want to get this ball rolling, but it's something in you, and that's your intuition letting you know that you don't need to jump too many guns in putting that information out there. You need to get some ducks in a row first and be very strategic. Be very strategic, because not only is this something that a lot of people are going to want to get their hands on, the product or whatever it is that you made or have discovered in particular, a lot of people are going to want to get in contact with you whenever you get all of this solidified and all of that. They're going to want to get in contact with you, and they're going to want to work with you. They want to get their hands on whatever this product is, whatever this idea is, so that they can be in on the expounding and the evolution of it. So you need to definitely be very strategic and be very careful, because there's also something about you in particular. There's something about you. There's something about your aura that rings unicorn. That rings unicorn, twisted flamingo, mermaid, that type of energy. Mythical, one in a million, pink zebra, like just you're a out of fucking nowhere type of person. That's how your personality, your character, your spirit is. Random and multifaceted, and it's for a reason. And this particular discovery and this particular project is also a part of that reason. You were born this way for a reason. And a part of that reason is so that you can make brilliant random discoveries like this and educate people. So this goes back also to what I was saying, and I said this at the very beginning of this video. Some of you in this group, some of you in this that resonate with this particular layout as a whole, you've been bullied or you've been shamed and discouraged against being a brainiac, against being a nerd, against being a genius. But you are literally supposed to be that, so that you can do little quirky, not even little, so that you can do big, quirky, amazing shit like this. Like making fucking scientific, philosophical, whatever, what have you, discoveries in your craft, and not only be beautiful and make other people beautiful in the process, but also educate the masses on some Madam C.J. Walker type shit. I'm here for it. And the last card, but certainly not least, we have love. And this is again reiterating and expanding the message on the self-control and stabilizing your emotions. So the reason why you tend to feel a need, you want to tiptoe and bite your tongue for people, and you try your best not to snap out on people and all of that, is because you genuinely love people. You're a genuinely loving person, and the message is to allow yourself to be that. Just don't be no fool, okay? Have boundaries and stick to your boundaries. And that is also an act of love, because when you enable people and you don't set boundaries, you end up creating monsters, or you end up helping evolve monsters into demons in efforts to save face, or in efforts to not break or change some type of dynamic or something. And all of that is also attached to ego, because you are doing that kind of with the motivation of trying to control a situation, trying to micromanage an outcome, trying to over control how people receive you, trying to over control how people see you and perceive you, and also trying to over control yourself and how you respond to things, and which again goes back to trying to micromanage how you are perceived, which is egotistical, which in turn flips the message and goes back to self-love and you learning how to love and accept yourself and acknowledge your flaws and love and accept them too. Because when you enable people and bite your tongue and keep yourself from saying things that you know that need to be said because you're afraid of the response, you're afraid of how people are going to see you, you're afraid of changing the dynamic and all of that, that is because that is some type of insecurity that you have with yourself. And it's a need for you to confront your fears and to confront your flaws and still extend love and compassion to yourself at the end of every situation, conversation, no matter how it ends up, extending affirmations and vibes of love to yourself, which will give you a greater sense and concept of unconditional love. And then dealing with people and dealing with situations will become much less stressful, and you will begin to experience way less anxiety in dealing with people because you won't be so angst up about how things are going to go and whether or not you're going to have to fight somebody. So before we wrap up, I'm going to revisit the Believe in the Impossible in reverse card. There's a message here that came up for I'm getting musicians and theatrical people in particular. Some people coming out of a burnout or a unintended overextended break of some sort. And this card is in reverse, and it's also going back to the interpretation that I gave of can't see the forest for the trees and things of that nature. And there's also kind of a parallel message that was attached to the yoga message and also the people in cosmetics message as well. I'm going to reiterate it accordingly. So, as it concerns the parallelism with the yoga message and feeling like you don't have everything that you need, and this is for musicians and theater people, you feeling like you don't have everything that you need, but you have your voice, you have your emotions, you have the ability of your body, you have your talent, you have your gifts, and you need to get rehabilitated with those and get back comfortable and get back flexible and agile with those things first before you start to throw yourself into the deep end of other things. Because, and kind of like I said at the beginning of the video, there are some knots and bolts that need to be undone, some things that need to be unraveled that landed you in a burnout situation before. And so there's shadow work within the creative process, and it's hard. And it feels very stressful and overwhelming. But if you just allow yourself to go through it and be loving and compassionate with yourself going through it, you are going to make some brilliant discoveries, not only about yourself, but also about your craft on a genius level. And this is the parallelism with the people in cosmetics message. The brilliant discoveries that you make are going to be things that are going to end up allowing you to put yourself, allowing you to create your own space as legendary. Legendary status, a standard that people coming after you will reference to and be inspired by, and that people before you will be admiring you for and applauding you for and in awe about, like, oh damn, like I ain't even think of that type shit. Again, this is for musicians and theater people. And I am one myself, so I am enthused about that message. So, yeah, allowing yourself to go through, push through, and also have fun. Allow yourself to have fun. Really meditate on your sacral and throat chakra and your root chakra in particular. Sacral and throat, first priority. Heart and root when things get hazy and when things get a little hard. Okay. And again, be patient and compassionate with yourself, because in the process you're going to be discovering a lot of moments where, like I said before, you're needing to give yourself more credit, give yourself more applause, give yourself more thanks and more gratitude for how far you have brought yourself and how you have done the work and how you have made the decision to take the wisdom and to take the wins from situations that really could have been losses. But it was your choice to take the greatness and to take the victory from it and create more victory for yourself. And that's the journey that you're in right now, realizing that you've already done it and that you can do it again and again and again and again in bigger and better ways. And each time you allow yourself to go through those cycles and break those pathologies and break those bad habits and break those generational curses, each time the weight will get lighter. Each time the anxiety will reside more and more and more, and it will get easier and more effortless for you to process and stabilize your own emotions and using and evolving your crafts. And y'all, I have milked this cow dry. I hope that it resonated. I hope that you're able to use everything to the best of your abilities, divine timing and divine design. And be sure to bless my comment section with your questions and conversations. And as always, I bid you all light, love, healing, and liberation. Emphasis on liberation. Mwah.